The Sciforror Film Podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Sciforror Film Podcast.
Did you forget what we were doing?
I long lost
Use of tongue.
So until then, goodbye. No, hey, we just started. I'm Andy Walker, and I'm here with my son Scott. Hello, Scott.
Hello, everybody.
And how are you?
I'm okay, actually. Meant to change for once. I'm okay.
Good. Now, this is a special episode.
Special Eskimo.
This is a special. This is a
special episode.
Thank you. This is a special episode of the Sciforror Film Podcast because it is the St. Patrick's Day special.
Woo!
Woo!
I would like to add as well that I've been trying to get you to watch these, or at least one of these films that we're doing.
Yeah. The trouble is, I've now watched two.
Yeah, well, I've watched 3, so I'm still beating you.
Yeah, well,
because I've actually watched the one we've done on this before, and 3 and 4.
Okay, right. So, yes, I did have a plan to do a special show for each of the Saints' Days for all of the countries in the United Kingdom, but unfortunately we can't because I can't find anywhere that there are any science fiction or horror films based on St. George, St. David, or St. Andrew.
If anyone's got any or knows of one, please let us know, because I love the fact that we did this one, and I think it would be quite a good way to see if we could do it, even if it's just a film about each of them. And we could put like a joint one together or something. It would be good.
Yeah, it's just bizarre.
It could be interesting.
I can't find any out there at all. The only St. George's Day one I could find was about gangsters in London with Craig Fairbanks in it and all of that. No, I mean,
obviously.
But anyway,
St. George is more of an action, isn't he?
Yeah. This is St. Patrick's Day special, and so we are doing a multitude of short films and a long film. We might have 1.5 report backs on the long film because I had to watch 2. Anyway,
you didn't have to. You could have just said
no, because I already watched the first one.
Oh, that's my fault. I'm sorry.
Anyway, we'll explain that when we get to it. So to start off with the short films, the first one is called St. Patrick's Day, and this is CAD Productions.
Yeah.
Now, the synopsis for this says, when a young boy is forced to face a knife-wielding monster, can he overcome this threat, or will it be a deadly finish for him? Yes. So, it has an interesting start to this. It looks quite promising.
To be honest, it's got an interesting sort of feel about the whole film.
It looks incredibly amateurish.
Yep.
It's a little bit odd.
Yep.
I'm worried slightly about the kid that was in the video.
Oh, yeah, massively.
And I'm not sure what the hell it's got to do with St. Patrick's Day.
No.
But apart from that,
again, very good acting from the child.
Yes. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Even if he did only look about 5. I do like the idea as well, and that might be a premise of a film that I try and make of just killing monsters and things like that with Nerf guns.
Yeah, no, well, yeah.
Because that just amuses me. That amused me so much that he managed to take out this big scary monster with a foam bullet.
Maybe certain monsters are allergic to foam, in the same way as vampires don't like holy water and werewolves can't handle silver.
Okay. So the whole premise of how to kill a leprechaun isn't raw iron; it's a foam bullet.
Yep,
I suppose there isn't a lot of raw iron around anymore, is there? So,
not at the moment, no. So yeah, I mean, it was okay. It was great. It was short and meh.
it was short. I wouldn't say short. It's sweet. It was. I do agree with you. I know obviously a lot of it was filmed and it was filmed for, but I do sort of worry about the safety of the child. Like that the knife looked like it came close a lot of times,
Yes.
and yeah,
Okay. Well,
it looked,
I'm going to skim over the rest of
yeah,
the second short film was called the Serpent,
yeah.
with a subtitle of a St. Patrick's Day horror short, directed and edited by Jonathan Coco, written by David Mates. Cast is Marty Hedgsa and Roland Ruiz. The synopsis says, after stealing millions from his employees, a corrupt CEO is confronted by a mysterious and vengeful man. So, what do you reckon?
Is it wrong to say that I've drunk with a lot of people like that? I know
Oh,
quite a few. I know quite a few people that look and sound and drink like him.
yeah. No, yeah, I understand that completely. See, this is another one though, right? Apart from the fact that,
He's wearing green.
yeah, well, apart from the fact that the bloke sitting at the table drinking with him kind of has a slight accent which could possibly be construed as being
Irish.
Irish-ish. And he looks a little bit like he's dressed like a leprechaun-ish. And the fact that St. Patrick is known to have kicked all the snakes out of Ireland, and this has to do with snakes. I really don't see what this has got to do with St. Patrick's Day as such.
No, the only other thing that I did pause this just purposely just to have a look. The only other thing that I could think that has got anything close to it is the fact they are drinking Irish whiskey.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
it. Saying it's just, I do agree with you. If it had just been a horror film, I think it would be great. But to sit and say it's a St. Patrick's Day or it's a
Yeah.
this sort of horror film, I don't see it.
I mean, it's got quite a menacing atmosphere to it, and it's got quite
Yeah.
a, and some of the makeup, the makeup effects are quite good, where his face turns scaly
Yeah.
and that sort of thing. It's really quite good, but it's not really.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't. If I was watching this and didn't know that it was supposed to be connected to St. Patrick's Day, I wouldn't have made that connection in my head.
No, to be honest, if I had just watched it and didn't know it was for this or whatever, then my first reaction would have been more a sort of. I know this is very stereotypical, but a sort of Asian Vietnamese sort of thing, especially for the way the bar looked or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
A sort of God thing to do with that, like one of
yeah.
the religions. But I
I know
would
what you
never
mean.
have, unless because we've done it for this, I would never have put it anywhere near close to St. Patrick's Day, even Ireland.
No, I know. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad film. The atmosphere is quite good. The filming's
No,
quite good. The acting's not bad. The makeup's not bad. It's just, yeah,
yeah, it's a very good, it's a good film, but it's not what I would class as being a St. Patrick's Day film.
no, no. Okay, on to the third one, which is definitely St. Patrick's Day. This is called Unlucky Charms.
Yeah,
This is on CG Meetup, filmed by Chris Thorian. The concept was by Nick Thorian. And the synopsis says, late one night, a bored cashier collects all the 3 toys from a box of magic munchos and unwittingly unleashes the ancient evil that lies within. Now, obviously, they're supposed to be Lucky Charms because he couldn't use the name. The animation is excellent.
Yeah, I just don't get me wrong. I spent some of the day looking at their other films, and I can see hands down why they've got the followers they have on YouTube and why their films are so good. Their animation they've got from is amazing. Like they show it as the fact that it's all motion captured as well,
Yeah,
and I think it's amazing.
it is really, really good. I really like this film. I think the story idea is a decent idea to start off with anyway. And it's funny, but it's also got a good amount of horror in it as well, or the horror feel to it. And there's an interesting end sequence to this, because after the film's finish is actually a piece that shows you how they made it.
All the graphic design and the motion capture and the step by step that they went through. And I think it's saying I think this is such a great film.
It is.
It is an amazing idea.
It is an amazing idea, and it's quite funny as well.
It's and what I like about it is the fact that it's the only talking in it, the only speech in it is from the TV. There's no sort of like overacted with anything like that, and the fact that looking at it, everything's been done by one person.
Yeah,
And that is a big deal and a big job to do for one person.
yeah, and it is really good. It's really good fun to watch, and it's great to just watch. I love these sort of things. The thing I like, I prefer films where if it's animated or done on CGI. I prefer films where it's done to made to look so that it isn't real.
Yeah,
when they try,
it definitely had a. I would say for anyone that's not going to watch all that hasn't seen it and would like to, the animation style has got a very Tim Burton-esque feel to it.
Yeah,
it's the sort of over exaggeration of the limbs and sort of the darkness to it. But again, it's a very good thing, and I love this film.
Oh yeah, I think I prefer that sort of thing because it's almost like cartoony rather than trying to make it look ultra real.
Yeah,
because if you try and make it look ultra real and you don't quite succeed, it looks awful.
Yeah, it's just definitely, and like I said, I've looked at some of their other stuff, and I can definitely say that I understand why these people have got the followers they have. They've got almost 6 million subscribers on their YouTube channel, and I can see why. Their work they do is amazing.
Okay, so now we are going to go on to our feature film. Now, we originally were going to do Leprechaun. But unfortunately, Scott had
my Prime ran out and I couldn't watch it.
Yes, Scott couldn't get his Prime up, and so therefore,
I prefer to say that I couldn't reinstate it, but I couldn't get it up.
Fair enough. So therefore, we watched Leprechaun 2, which is on YouTube. Now, I would just like to say that Leprechaun, the original film Leprechaun, which I sat and watched, was actually better than I thought it was going to be.
Okay. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, well, it was better than I thought it was going to be. And the cinematography is good. There's some good humorous moments and decent effects and all that sort of thing. Makeup effects are good, but the thing is, realistically, that the thing that makes that film is Warwick Davis.
Oh yeah, he makes all of them.
He's the only thing. He's the thing that really makes a film. Although I would say I was really quite surprised at how good Jennifer Aniston was in it. So there you go.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what we're going to do is do Leprechaun 2. So here we go. Leprechaun 2, 1994, from Trimark Films and Lionsgate. Was directed by Rodman Flender, which I'm sure isn't a real name. Rodman Flender. Sounds like a
If
typical
it's not a
group.
real name, I know work no against him or anything, but would you choose it?
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Now he did some TV work and short stuff in the short stuff. I just find it sorry. Um, in the 90s, 2000 and 2010s, he did The Unborn in 1991, Idle Hands in 1999, and Eat Brains Love in 2019. The writer, now Mark Jones, who was the original director, also wrote the original story. So he did some shorts in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. He also was involved in or had something to do with the writing of Leprechaun 2, Leprechaun, Leprechaun 2, and Leprechaun 3, Rumpelstiltskin in 1995, just for a change. He thought we'd do Rumpelstiltskin instead of Leprechaun. Leprechaun 4 in Space in 1996, Leprechaun in the Hood, year 2000, Leprechaun 6 Back in the Hood, or Back to the Hood in 2003, Triloquist in 2008, and Leprechaun Returns in 2018.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling he sort of got stuck in a spot and just like writing them.
Yes. Then we had Turi Mayer, who did some TV and short work in 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s. Did Sleep Stalker in 1995, which went straight to video. Candyman Day of the Dead in 1995, which went straight to video. And Wrong Turn 2 Dead End in 2007, which went straight to video. And the other writer, which is Alfredo Septien, did exactly the same thing. He wrote thinking exactly the same thing. Okay, so the cast. First of all, we have Warwick Davis. Now, Warwick Davis did some TVs. I'm going to say did some TVs and some shorts in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s. He was in Star Wars.
Do you want to clear the throat a bit more?
Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, 1983. Leprechaun Leprechaun was this one. I'll go on. Leprechaun 1983, Leprechaun 2 1994, Leprechaun 3 in 1995, Leprechaun 4 in Space 1996, Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace in 1999, Leprechaun 5 Back in the Hood in 2000, Leprechaun 6 Back to the Hood in 2003, Skinned Deep in 2004, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe in 2000, or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, as it was in this country,
yeah.
2005. Small Town Folk in 2007. Monsters of the Id in 2007. Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, 2015. Rogue One, A Star Wars Story in 2016. Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Solo, A Star Wars Story in 2018, and Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker in 2019.
And I would say, because I've had a few people comment on a few other things, he has done so many more. Like, we could be here, we could make 7 episodes just listing the films that he's done.
Yeah,
They're the ones that are relevant to us doing horror and sci-fi.
Yeah, we only ever list the horror and sci-fi films
He's
we've done because we're not interested in all the rest, to be honest.
No, he has been in so many other films, doing so many other things. The man is a master of many talents.
So then we have Charlie Heath, who has done nothing that is of interest to us at all. Siobhan Durkin, who was in Ghost in the Machine in 1993, and nothing else that we're interested in. Sandy Barron, who did some TV stuff in the 1990s and was in Vamp in 1986, but was in nothing else that we're interested in. Adam Biesk, who was in Meet the Applegates in 1990, but nothing else we're interested in at all.
Yeah.
It's good this, isn't it? James Lancaster, who was in a film called Lost Souls until the year 2000, but nothing else we're interested in. Now, there are other people in this film, but to be honest, most of them don't do anything, or it's very limited what they do. So that's the main cast. So the synopsis for this film says, on his 1000th birthday, an evil leprechaun selects the descendant of one of his slaves to have as his bride, leaving it up to the girl's boyfriend to save her. So, You've seen this a couple of times now.
Yes.
I've seen this once, and that was enough. That was enough for me. I'm not overly bothered about seeing any more of the rest of the films.
Oh, not even Leprechaun in the Hood or
No,
Returns to the Hood.
and
Oh,
not in space either. Um, now this film starts off by going back to old Ireland when the Leprechaun was younger. So, Um,
yeah.
he gets kind of yeah, trapped in a tree. I don't know.
No,
I didn't
it's
understand.
it's his 1000th birthday when it starts off, and the slave that he has, he says that he's going to choose his wife, and it's his slave's daughter.
Oh yes, yes, of course.
And his slave, basically the way he does it, if he sneezed 3 times without anyone saying "God bless you," he would have been able to marry her. And a slave betrays him and does it, and he says, "Look, what I'm going to do then, in 1,000 years' time, is I'm going to find your descendant and find the prettiest one." And that's then when the film carries on after and he's in a
Yeah,
tree which has been transported to the United States
from Ireland.
from Ireland as a gift to someone that is in later on in the film.
Right. So, well, the other thing I would say is the slave.
Yep.
Now, I could be wrong here, but to me, it looked like the slave stubble was drawn on with a black marker.
Yeah.
It looked like somebody got a black marker and just gone
Yeah.
over his face. It was awful.
And maybe they'll want to make up budget when I'm making the mask for Warwick Davis.
Yeah, I mean, Warwick Davis's makeup in all of these films is really good.
Yeah,
That
he's
mask and that is fantastic.
mask and the costume design is amazing.
Absolutely. And yeah, there are some humorous parts in this film, but I don't know. There's some good effects. Warwick Davis is still the best thing about the film, and
Yeah, yeah.
to be honest, I really didn't really care that much about the rest of it.
It's
I mean,
it's sort of predictable, I think, with what's going on. But again, I love these films because it's obviously Warwick Davis in the sort of the early stages of his career with a lot of things, and he, as a lot of people know with watching him, he's gone on from doing a lot of sci-fi stuff. He's done a lot of fantasy stuff, and he always plays one of the good guys. And I love this because he plays the bad guy. He is
yeah.
the the sort of the pinnacle of bad guys in this. And I think it suits him so well. And I love these films just purely for the fact that he plays the bad guy.
I would say this is another one of those series of films that kind of, to me, kind of it proves something. There was this theory that me and some friends came out with in the 80s, which was this thing where if you had a series of films,
Yeah.
and this is true for a lot of them, not necessarily all of them, but most of them, I think, you get one good film. The first film is a very good film in
Yeah.
lots of ways. As Leprechaun is, it's not, it's not a bad film. Some great effects, great makeup, some good acting. There's even some pretty gory scenes in it, to be honest, with some of the people that killed. Then you get the second film, which is awful
Yeah.
because it's so bad. It's really bad. When the third film comes out, the third film is better than the second one, but it's still nowhere near as good as the first one.
No. Yeah.
But everyone raves about it because they think it's a great film because it wasn't as bad as the second one. You watch the Nightmare on Elm Street films; it's exactly the same.
Yeah. No, I know. I've got to admit, I do think that's the only downside to this. Is obviously the first Leprechaun film, like you said, it got some amazing gore scenes in it. The death scenes in it. They've done it, and in the other ones like 4 and 5, and the sort of ones in the hood and all that. The death scenes and kill scenes that you've got in it are amazing. But in this one, there's two really that you see, or well, you don't even see. You see an off sort of casting of what happens, and then really
Right?
it's only one of them you see. You see
Yeah.
in the shadows. The second one, you sort of know what's happened, but you don't see anything, and that's it. And it's just sort of
The other thing is for me the humour in this is played a lot more for obvious laughs, whereas the humour in the first one didn't seem like comedy. It was just sort of humour of the situations.
Yeah,
Whereas this was almost like it was like watching the Three Stooges in a horror movie. You know what I mean?
yeah, I do get what you mean.
It's I hmm, I was I'm not going to say I was glad I watched the first one, but watching the first one, it was interesting to watch something that I'd never ever had any kind of desire to watch,
Yeah,
and thinking better of it after I'd seen it. But
yeah.
this film was exactly what I thought Leprechaun was going to be, which is why I've never wanted
Okay,
to watch it.
yeah. I can sort of understand. So this is the thing. Is that it's good to see like stuff like this. Obviously, we've talked about franchises and stuff like that. We love,
Yeah,
and it is a lot of it's been similar. But it's nice the fact that we've got a franchise or even films that I love. I love all these films mainly, as I said, not just because of what goes, but because of what they represent and stuff like that. But it's the weird to see the fact that you don't. It's nice the fact that
yeah.
it just proves once again that we don't agree on everything.
I really, I have no desire to watch any of the other
Oh,
films at all.
I would seriously pay money to watch all of these again. I love them.
It does nothing for me. I mean, this did nothing for me at all.
I do
It
number
made me
two.
laugh really.
I do agree with you. Number two is not the best one, but yeah, it's not the best one in in this franchise. But it's definitely the thing is that it's one of them things that when he throws the coin away at the end, I know that like, there's probably a lot of people in this first come out going, "Oh my god, why has he done that?" Like I know because of the fact that he carries on, but it's just like
I
it's
must
one of the
admit,
things.
I must admit, there was part of me that was expecting a hand to come out of the earth and
Yeah, I've
drive
got
it
to admit,
under.
I've seen it a couple of times and I still expect it to happen. But I think the graphics as well for it, like when the boy first realizes that while he's got the piece of gold that the leprechaun's after, he can't be hurt. He can't hurt him because
Yeah,
obviously they've got to be given their gold back if it's stolen.
yeah.
It can't be. They can't steal it back. They can't take it back. One of the sort of rules of the Thaylor rules. And when it goes to drive at him, goes to drive over him, and he sort of passes through the car. I think is a really well done.
Oh yeah, no, it is. Some of the effects are very good in it,
Yeah,
I must admit. And that was one of the things watching the first film I did like was the fact that they kind of, in a very simple and basic way, with Warwick Davis just sitting and talking to himself, explain the legend of the leprechaun's gold and the curse involving
yeah,
it. And it was
yeah,
explained in perfectly reasonable way, very quickly, right at the beginning of the first film. And you go, "All right, okay, now I
yeah,
understand what the setup is. I understand everything."
yeah. It's one of the things that I like about it is the fact that yeah, okay, it's sort of explained almost every film, but I suppose it's a way so you don't have to keep going back and remembering it.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, it's not the fact that it's explained the whole way through it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the fact that what I like about it is the fact that they brought a lot of the book that they're reading in the bar or at the home, sorry, explains a lot of the other bits, the
yeah,
sort of how to capture and why they're doing it and stuff like that. And it's a sort of it's one of the things you sort of I like that bit because it's not just we're nicking this to make a film. We've done research, we've looked into it. This is what the rules and what everyone believed and everything like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I got no problem with the fact that you like these films, and there are probably a lot of other people out there that like them as well. But it's just not for me. Not
Fair enough.
my kind of thing, really, at all. So there you go. Um, so that was it. That was our St Patrick's Day celebration, if you like. The fact that we didn't really like really nothing to do with
Oh,
it. But mind you, it does make a nice change for us to have horror films that we know
yeah, don't
rather
get me
than
wrong.
science fiction.
There's one that we like. Obviously, one that we really liked one that I really liked and you didn't. But it's nice to have for once it being horror films, but we're not sitting there going, "Oh, this is rubbish."
Yeah,
Like normally, every single time we've done it, it's always been sci-fi. But it's nice
yeah,
to sit there and watch a horror film and go, "This is awful,"
yes,
and
definitely.
not just because of the fact that it is awful, because it's awful. One of the things that we've watched so many films where we go, "This is awful, but it's good." This is just purely it's
Awful.
awful, and
Yeah.
it's just oh yeah.
Well, there you go. That's the St. Patrick's Day special over. Next week, we are going to be doing another comparison. Now, bearing in mind the fact that when we did the review of the Romford Horror Film Show, Horror Film Festival, I said about the fact that I wasn't a big lover of Italian cinema, Italian horror.
Okay.
What we are doing next week to Italian horror film, we're doing a review of Demons from 1985
Oh, God's sake, yeah.
and the follow-up, Demons 2, which, I mean, you can't get much more Italian than those two because you've got people like Dario Argento and
A bit more Italian than these two because they're Italian films.
yeah, well, Lamberto Bava, Dario Argento, people like that. They're the kings of Italian horror movies, for me anyway. So anyway, yes, so that's what we're going to be doing next week. We're going to be doing Demons and Demons 2, which it's good fun. Now I must admit,
I've seen the film posters.
I've seen Demons. I saw Demons at the cinema in a all night special thing that I went to, and I've seen Demons 2, but I saw Demons 2 on a DVD, not a DVD, a VHS videotape, no less, because that was
Singled out all the younger viewers of our
1986. I
audience.
think that was.
All the younger people in our audience have just switched off.
Yes. Yeah, 1986.
Googling what a VHS is.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, so that's what we're going to be doing next. So if you want to find out what we think of the two Demons films, then check them out. Check it out.
Could also do something scary and watch them before we do.
Yeah.
Watch them before we do, and the messages and say don't.
No. I see. I like these films. These are my kind of films. So yes, we're doing that. That's what we're doing. Thank you very much to you, Scott, for being part of the thing.
Sorry, that's okay. I'm glad I could be here. I'm glad. Out of all the episodes we've done so far this year, this has been my favourite so far.
Oh, okay.
Just purely for the fact that I got to watch Leprechaun 2.
Well, I'm glad to be of service. So yes, and then thank you to anybody out there who has been watching, listening, collecting the collectible cards. If you send in
if you send in proof you've got all the collectible cards, we'll send you a receipt back to say sorry.
Yeah, if you send us proof that you have all the collectible cards, then you will get a prize, which will be a unnamed plastic thing. And until then,
be a binder to put them all in.
We will be back. I'll be back.
Okay.
Or something. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
The Sciforror Film Podcast.